Morning, class.
Good morning, Miss Justina.
Jean, I'm done.
I hope you're well, Miss Justina.
I'm very well. Thank you, Melanie. I'm done with the regression analysis. Thanks for filling in. Oh, the periodic table. We haven't really covered this yet.
Just data pairs. Names and numbers. Content is not really relevant, is it? Enjoy.
Okay. I've got chemical elements here. Wow. Lots and lots.
Can we have a story?
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. Then someone goes and tells Dr. Caldwell and I'm in the sweatbox for a week.
We won't tell, we promise.
We did stories last time.
Greek myths? Then it counts as history.
All right. We'll do one as a warm-up. Now, where were we?
Prometheus and Epimetheus. The war with the gods.
Got it. Thank you, Melanie.
You're very welcome, Miss Justina.
And that's a clip from The Girl with All the Gifts. It stars Gemma Arterton. Welcome to the programme. I should say, you're not the girl with all the gifts.
No, unfortunately,
not
on this particular
not
occasion.
in this particular. How would you describe this film?
It's quite hard to describe it, actually. It's set in a dystopian future London. It's a sophisticated zombie movie, much deeper than your regular zombie movie, and it attacks many questions that we have that I feel are quite relevant for right now, what's happening in the world right now, and particularly in London right now, about humanity, about evolution, about who has the right to live where, so many things.
Okay, so just explain, before we get on to the questions which you think are absolutely the right questions to be asking, there is a certain expectation then, as soon as you mention the word zombie, people have a certain image in their mind. Tell us we'll get to the questions in a moment, but the actual storyline involves yourself, Miss Justina, as a teacher, and tell us about yourself and the girl with the gifts.
So my character is a teacher who is teaching this collection of androgynous-looking children. They all have, I say androgynous because they've all got shaved heads, so you can't tell what sex they are. And I'm teaching them in this bizarre, lightless room, windowless room, which we later find out is a bunker. And my character's goal is to try and sort of investigate whether these children have special, how their intelligence and their levels of empathy and capacity to love and feel, and then we later find out that they are hungries, they are zombies, but they are much more evolved, much more intelligent than the regular type. And so my character is sort of finding their humanity within these children and realising that they are the next step in evolution.
So there is you on one side, and then there's Glenn Close, who's sort of on the other side of this particular discussion, and she's the scientist, and she's interested in the children for other reasons, like harvesting.
She's so fantastic in the film. She's the scientist, so she's trying to find a cure for this fungal infection that's wiping out humankind, and I get it. Of course she's trying to save what she knows. But for me, when you're one of 3 humans left on the planet and everyone else is thriving, who has the right to stay? And that's the sort of moral to and froing we have during the film.
So the girl in question, is it Sennia Nanua?
Sennia Nanua.
Sennia Nanua puts in an astonishing performance as the girl with the gifts. Tell us a bit about her, because I think I'm right in saying you were involved in the selection process. So when they'd got all these extraordinary children down to the last half dozen or something like that, you come along. Yeah,
they really did do a very extensive search. It's quite a particular role, as you've seen. We had to find the right person. Sennia was actually the last one that we saw.
Is that actually true? Because it's always like that. Whenever there's a search for the child, it's really important. It's the Jungle Book. Whatever. Yes, it was the very last person that walked in. Really, that's true.
Well, what I can only say from my experience, I wanted to do chemistry reads with the girls.
So what happens?
Chemistry
then?
read is when you just sort of meet up, you read the scenes together, maybe do a little bit of improvisation just to see how they are with you. So you might be an actor might be really good at reading lines, but maybe not very good at relating. And I guess my a large part of what happens with Melanie is her relationship to Miss Justino. So I met, I don't know, about 10 young girls who were all so different in so many different ways. And Sennia was the last one that I met, and she just had this sort of elegance and this poise and a wit, and she just seemed very sharp and able to lead. She seemed like a leader, which is important in the film. She could command, and also she was the most committed physically. The role of Melanie requires so much. Not only has she got to do all these big acting scenes, but she has a lot of kind of animalistic stuff to do. I think a lot of the girls were quite sort of afraid of looking silly, and Sennia just really went for it. She was physically incredible.
Yes, and she has her character has a big journey to go on. She changes a lot in the course of this story.
Oh, absolutely. She starts off as very sweet and quite timid, and then by the end, I mean...
Yes.
Don't want to give too much away.
But it's a clever performance from her, because because of that opening section which you've described, where we meet you as the teacher, we're kind of on her side.
Yeah.
We're on Melanie's side, and then later through the movie we question whether we're right actually to be on her side.
Yeah.
Well, there must have been, was she 11 when she was cast?
She was 12 when we were shooting. Now she's 13. She's like very grown up now.
You must have compared yourself at that age and thinking, well, how would I...
There's no way I would have...
No?
I mean, I didn't even know I wanted to be an actor at that age, let alone, could have gone on a film set and been the lead and been on set every single day and in the cold. And her energy was so unbelievable. Plus being surrounded by adults. Sennia's she's not from a sort of stagey background. She's from a very normal background. And suddenly she was thrust into working with Glenn Close and directors and lighting people and people putting blood on her face. And she just handled it.
A lot of blood on her face.
Yeah, and it was all the time. It's very annoying. And she had handcuffs. And for her, she just managed to do it. And she's a natural, I think. She just completely fell into it and never complained.
Is it fun filming a zombie movie like
yeah,
this?
it's
As you kind
hilarious.
of, there's this, I don't think it's giving anything away, there's a scene where you're edging past like 60 completely static zombies who are just waiting for the sniff of blood and all that kind of stuff. I mean, is it funny?
Yeah, it was hilarious. There were scenes, because Paddy Considine, who appears like a very serious man, he's actually very, very funny and a real joker. And that scene in particular, where we all have to look, it's like the stakes are really high. We were all trying not to laugh. I mean, there were some ridiculous moments in it, but very, very, very funny.
You don't want to be the zombie that laughs just as Paddy Considine is edging past with his gun.
But the zombies all found, the Hungries were very, very professional. They took it very, very seriously. I mean...
And this is in Dudley, isn't it? In Birmingham, a lot of this was filmed.
That particular scene was shot in Stoke-on-Trent. Yeah.
And are they the Hungries of Stoke-on-Trent,
They
or do you
are.
ship in Hungries from...
We had Brummie Hungries, yeah.
Now that you've got involved in production or taking an interest in film production, do you look at films in a different way? Are you more picky? Do you look at different sides of a project before you commit?
I guess that I mean, my own taste in films it tends to be quite sort of less in the fantasy and sci-fi world, and I'd like, I want to do things that are quite sort of direct and about human beings. But looking at a film like Girl with All the Gifts, it's a very, very ambitious film to make for the budget we made it, and for Colin McCarthy's first feature, it's very ambitious.
He's the director, yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't have a huge budget, and I think that, things can look really bad, and I think that's a real risk. That's something that I would take into consideration as a producer, not wanting to spend my budget on things like that. But with this film, we were so lucky to have really, really talented people working on it, and so he took that risk and did so well. I think he's a really exciting new director for the British film industry. It's so exciting.
You mentioned at the start of our conversation about the things that it's actually about, and often zombie movies are about other things like consumerism or whatever it is it might be. What are the questions about humanity that you think it's actually tackling? What is it actually about?
I think it's actually about survival of the fittest. I think it's actually about evolution and nature, what nature taking precedence and nature governing over humanity, and actually is stronger. And these kids get infected and they are stronger, and they're taking back. It's like if you leave. We shot some of the skyline was Chernobyl. We took a drone to Chernobyl and shot Chernobyl, and obviously the nature is just completely overwhelmed that human landscape. And I think that's what it's about. It's about nature taking back its planet on a deeper level, I think.
And I think people will, because one of the stories that you tell the class very early on is the story of Pandora's box. And of course, we sort of get the significance of that. But I think it's a very intelligent movie, and at the end of it, people will go, oh, okay. And it's really quite disturbing.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that people that... what I really would like is people that are thinking they're just going to go and see a silly zombie movie, going and having their mind opened a bit and thinking about things in a different way. I'd love that.
Yeah. One of the subjects which comes up a lot on the programme, particularly when we've had Meryl Streep on the programme and Jennifer Lawrence, is gender equality and the pay gap. I know you've spoken quite a lot about these issues in the past. Where is that campaign? How do you see that at the moment? Are things changing? Are things improving? How does it look from your point of view?
Things are improving for sure. It's absolutely in the forefront. I mean, I'm just talking about my experiences, and my experiences now are that I wouldn't even get involved in something if there was going to be any disparity now. But I think in Hollywood, it's definitely something that's being talked about, and I think people are definitely more comfortable asking questions like, how much is my co-star getting paid? In terms of projects, I mean, I'm developing stuff that's female-centric, so... but it's definitely something that still needs to... I was just recently on the Venice Film Festival jury, and I was horrified by the lack of female voice in that festival. There was one female writer-director in the festival in competition. And I just think, that there's still we've got a huge way to go.
Actually, it only occurred to me halfway through the movie that there's actually quite a female-centric film. I mean, you mentioned Paddy Considine, but actually there's Sennia and there's Glenn Close and there's yourself, and you're the main characters.
Yeah, and I love that you said halfway through you noticed that, because it should be effortless. It should be something that you don't notice. It should just be... This is the first film that I've been involved in that is gender balanced and racially balanced. And I think that was a very deliberate choice on the producer and director's part. And I think that's how it should be.
You've spoken recently about refusing to audition on social media and not wanting to be a part of social media. I just wonder if that is highlighted also when you're working with a 12-year-old actress now, in terms of wanting to pass on some kind of wisdom, because the pressure on social media, that, I mean, is overwhelming, I would think. Yeah,
it's such a weird subject, because there's social media for sort of your own enjoyment and your own sort of pleasure, and then there's social media because you feel you have to do it, and then there's so many aspects. I think with Sennia, I know that she's on Instagram, and I think she is quite sort of careful about what she puts up. I don't think that, I mean, my own personal taste, if I was casting a movie, I wouldn't care about the number of followers someone's got. It would be about how talented they are and if they're right for the part. But that's not the money side of it. I'm not the money side. So it's sort of a battle. I don't think that, I would say to Sennia, don't worry about it. And I have said to various friends, just don't give in to all of that nonsense.
What do we see you in next, Gemma?
I have 4 other films coming out.
Only 4?
One that's called Orpheline, which is a French film. One that's called Their Finest, which was at Toronto. That's a British film. Another one called 100 Streets. One called The History of Love. And then I'm doing a play. And then I'm also producing my first film, which I start shooting in 2 weeks.
And of all those projects, my guess is that last one might be the one you're most excited about.
Yeah, it's called The Escape, and I've co-written it with Dominic Savage, and we are shooting it in my hometown where I grew up, and in Paris, And yeah, it's a very, very personal film. So, fingers crossed it goes well.
Gemma Arterton, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.